pretty bonkers. But we are having vacation Bible school today. We do a lot of things a little different around here, which is great. There's 2,000 churches in San Antonio, so I don't know that there's a reason to kind of keep doing the same thing in the same place, the same way. So we do VBS family style. You say, well, what does that mean? Well, instead of the deal where people drive through the parking lot and drop their kids off and mom and dad go on date night or go grocery shopping or go home and just get a nap or whatever it is, not that any of those things are necessarily in and of themselves bad things, but we believe that mom and dad are called by God in His Word to be the lead discipler in the lives of their kids. And so having this drive-through lane where everybody drops their kids sort of prohibits that. It means that the church becomes that for you. So we decided, hey, let's do it family style, which means mom and dad bring your kids. And our job is to prepare environments that make it fun and enjoyable and an incredible experience, but also allow mom and dad to be right there with your kids. And so last year we had a blast. It was our first year giving it a shot. This year we're doing it again. Starts today. The schedule changed from last year to this year. So we'll do it today after church, Wednesday evening, and then next Sunday after church. So it'll be 3 days of VBS all this week in the next 8-day stretch. All the information's on that little sheet, what we're studying, where the address of the park is. It's only about 1 mile and 3/10 or so from here, so it's not far. There'll be lunch there, and so bring your family, come, enjoy lunch, a great time of fellowship. We're going to have some worship. We'll have a Bible story and a skit. You'll have activities and games and competitions. Actually heard some of the kids walking in this morning going, hey, we got to defend our crown. We won last year, so we're coming back. We want to repeat. We are defending our championship this year, so it should be a lot of fun. The back side of your sheet, if you didn't pick one up, you can get one in just a minute, has several other things. I do know that Wanda is still home this week and will be home all week, but we don't have anybody yet to have signed up for lunch or for dinner for her. So if you're looking for a way to love Wanda this week and to just go over and say, hey, allow me to drop off a meal, all the sign-up information is available for you there. Secondly, how many of you noticed anything different at all if you came in this back parking lot up here and you walked down the halls? What'd you notice, Aiden?
The halls are painted.
The halls are painted. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely. And so we want to thank them for just their incredible generosity for coming this week and spending hours just pulling stuff off the walls, repainting the trim and the walls. And it just looks, it looks like a different place. You walk in the back door, the sheetrock isn't falling down, or the roof leaked. It's been cut out and patched and textured, and most of us would never know that there was ever a leak there or a crack there, and it just looks really welcoming. So thank you to you guys for being a part of that. So lots of great stuff happening. Grab one of these if you'd like one. They're outside by the offering boxes. If you want to worship in generosity, you can do that. If you want to refill your coffee, but say hello to one another. Go across the aisle. How's that? So say hello to somebody and then cross the aisle somewhere so you'll see somebody on the other side of God's tabernacle today. And I'll get started here in just a couple minutes. We're set out to look at this Romans plan. I'm not quite so sure that I realized between 9 and the end of the deal there was so much fun that there is in Romans, because 13 today is going to be a lot of fun to sort of tackle. I'll just say this up front today: don't shoot the messenger, okay? I'm just the guy telling you what's in the book. So that's my job, is to get there. So there's your deal. But it's been a wild week for me. Wednesday I had the opportunity to go to a funeral of a good friend. He spent a life in ministry after a life in corporate America. We were in over here at Sunset Ridge, and I would guess it's about this size. Yay! I'm sorry. You don't get to see Tracy from Minnesota very often. Golly. So it was a worship, a sanctuary about this size over at Sunset Ridge, and the place was standing room only, about 8 deep, all the way around the walls. And I'm guessing that there probably wasn't a lost person in the room. It was just packed full, and everybody, I mean, they had 9 different people that spoke, and it was just, you just looked around the room and you saw the intentionality that Phil lived his life for the gospel of Jesus, and how it was literally making generational impact of this person and that person. It's like you just look at, I mean, and I know it wasn't single person because lots of people were depositing, but the stories, you could just tell, it's like this family story. And I was just child, I walked out and go, I want to be more like that. I want my life to be like that. I was telling our group Thursday night, he had one of his good buddies that he was walking alongside, had his best friend pass away in Kerrville. And so he got him, and he said, I'm headed to Kerrville to go be with the widow, his best friend's wife. He says, wait a minute, I'm coming over, I'll go with you. He says, how you don't have to do that, you don't even know him. He says, I know, but I'll go with you. He says, all right, whatever, hurry up. So he gets over there, he rides an hour to Kerrville. He sat on the couch for 8.5 hours and never said a word. So every once in a while, I said, he was one of the guys speaking. He said, every once in a while, I'd get a little bit choked up, and he'd just look at me and go, you're doing great. 8.5 hours later, they get in the car to come back from Kerrville. And he says, I just have to ask, why would you spend 11 hours of your day? He said, because you might have needed me. And if you had, I'd have been there. I want to be that kind of friend. You know, I thought, man, that's a life that just says, I'm going to go spend 11 hours. Another guy stood up and he said, hey, I feel he moved from here. He was a good friend here, and he was discipling him here. And he said, hey, I'm going to take my business to Dallas. And in 4 years, he got fired 5 times, lost everything that he had. He calls Phil and he says, hey, I'm not sure that it's going to work up here, but I don't know what to do. He says, well, come on home. He says, how am I going to get home? I don't have much. He says, I'll see you in the morning. 7:45 the next morning, he was outside his apartment with a U-Haul. And he loaded up and he brought him back to San Antonio, found a rental house. Put him in, helped him get back on his feet. And it's like, so I got to see that Wednesday and to just be a part of that and be challenged. And then Friday night, we went to my 30-year, high school reunion. And you see the decisions that people have made. And you're just like, wow. You know, I mean, like 2 radically different portraits for me. There weren't a whole lot of people that we saw at our tenure, at my tenure, that were actually still married to the same person. You know, and the different charts that people had chosen to take life. And so I watched these 2 kind of paradigms in a 48-hour course of events this week. And it was just really interesting. It kind of brings me back to what Paul's been saying here, and how intentional and how strategic we need to be in living in the fullness of Christ. We've been walking, I can't believe it's almost August. Next Sunday is the first Sunday in August, to which all the teachers went and the students go, ooh, right? I mean, that just means it's coming, you know? I mean, but we spent all June and 9, 10, and 11 looking at, hey, Paul says, here's where Israel has been in 9, and here's where God has them in the moment, and here's where they're going in the future in 11. And it brought up some really crazy dialogue, right? Like who are the people of Israel then? Because Paul was clear, evidently everybody born in Israel is not the people that God's referring to are the people of Israel. So we sort of wrestled with that a little bit. And then this whole elect and chosen and where do we stand on, does God just literally choose some and not choose others? Or does everyone have an opportunity to call upon the name of the Lord and be saved? Or some combination? And we said, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, we need to be broken for those who don't know. And we need to be passionately sharing the gospel with everyone we come in contact with, because no matter where we land on that, we don't know who's on that list. And so let's be like Paul, so broken and passionate that I'd be willing to say, hey, you know what? I'll trade mine for them if it would help along the way. And then we started in July this climb to Romans chapter 12. And for 3 weeks, we've been looking at this idea of how initially, right, that we're to offer our bodies, Paul says at the beginning of 12, as a holy and living sacrifice, as our spiritual act of worship. Catch this. And it is from that we get the renewing of our minds. Not the other way around. So often I think if I can just get my mind renewed, and I can make that happen, then that's going to lead to me offering my body as a holy sacrifice. But it's not that way. Paul says, hey, go offer everything you have, and it's through that process that you'll have this renewing of your mind. And we came back in week 2 in chapter 12 there and saw how he says, hey, you know what? God has called every single one of us to a ministry, to a mission. He's given us skills and giftings. We've seen some of it this week. You saw it. The place is painted, and you go, hey, well, that's not my skill set. It's not mine either. I mean, the carpet might need to be replaced anyway, but if I'd have painted the hallways, it definitely would need to be replaced. I mean, it's not, but there are people that are gifted that way. There are people that are, I love Dylan. He's like, hey, what do you need moved? I don't care where it is. That's part of what I got. God gave me a big set of shoulders and strong back. Let's go put it wherever you tell me. If they need it, I'll show up. You know, what is it that he's given us? And he says there that, hey, when we don't, whatever yours is and whatever mine is, he says, when we don't use it, the whole body suffers. And there's this tension. I use the example of my basketball guys. The little guys always want to dunk, and the big guys always want to shoot threes. And when I want to go do the other guy's job, and then all of a sudden the body starts to get out of kilter and it's not in rhythm and it doesn't function. And it's open for disease and woundedness and its integrity. He says, just do what you're called and you're gifted to do. And then last week we saw this idea that Paul says, hey, I want you to live from a genuine love in Christ. And I think he outlines for us what that looks like. He says this genuine love initially for you and me is going to be, hey, take a look in the mirror. And how is the genuine love of Jesus impacting your personal life? Do we hate the things that God hates, and do we love the things that he loves? And we've said it a billion times. All we got to do is just look at things like our calendar and our checkbook and all those things to answer those questions. Because so quickly I'm willing to go, yeah, I love the things God loves, and I hate the things that God hates. But then I look at how I spend my time, how I spend my money. Where are we investing in things? And go, maybe the reflection isn't truly what I would like it to be, or what I'm convincing myself that it is. And then he says, hey, genuine love is going to impact how we love his church. I use the phileo kind of love for that. It's this brotherly love. You guys know we're family? And so when one part of the body hurts, we all hurt. It says, go serve one another. Go meet one another's needs. This week, Pam Garwood, and last week, has literally sat at Wanda's bedside every day. She's loved her as a sister, as family, as she's recovering from a knee replacement. I see many of you guys do that for one another in those seasons. He says it's a brotherly love. We honor one another, he says. Don't hide behind the just kidding and the sarcasm, the spiritual gift of sarcasm. He says just don't say those things. Just say things that build one another up. By the way, I think he was probably pointing that one at me. I hide behind the, hey, I grew up in a locker room. Hey, I was an athlete. Hey, that's a part of just sports and talking trash for a long, long time. Even with our girls when they were little. We're just like, Kim, she's 18 months old. We just told her to get that out of here and smack the ball into the blinds in the living room. Man up. I don't know what to tell you, right? He says, is that really honoring? So I want you to honor them. It's that phileo, family kind of love. And then he said it's also going to impact the way we love God through Jesus. And he said, don't get lazy in your worship. Engage in it. And some of us are going, well, hey, I'm not the guy who wants to lift my hands, or I'm not the guy that wants to dance around the room, or I don't sing or play, or hey, he just says, hey, engage in the process. Worship him. Show up. You know what the average is in our country last year? For followers of Jesus to be gathered together with a body of believers for a weekly worship service is 1.3 Sundays a month. 2.7 on a 4, 3.7 on a 5. We're not even present. He says, don't lose zeal. Don't get lazy in our worship for him. Make it a priority in our life. And so today we're going to dial into a fun one. And again, I didn't write it, so don't shoot the messenger, but we're going to tackle our way through it because I think it's just what we're supposed to do. So flip open to Romans chapter 13, dial it in however you get there. And while you're doing that, let me just kind of start with this story to get us rolling for today. Anytime somebody is associated with two institutions, with two families, with two states, with two nations, with two of something, then there is possibility at that point that all of a sudden we're going to have some tension when one collides with the other, right? Our 30th reunion was this weekend, so I'm thinking high school and college. I remember when my best friend in high school decided he was going to go to that, I don't even know if I can say it, that place down in College Station. Y'all know the one, right? They gave him a full ride to go to school there. So it was free, so he decides, hey, I'm going to go to A&M. And he had been a lifelong UT fan, and I'm like, seriously, you're going to go to A&M? Okay. I mean, it's free, right? So go take the education. So he goes for a year, and I remember him coming back, and he goes, hey, I'm not going back. That place is just not for me. He says, all right, where are you going? He goes, well, I'm going to go to UT. And I'm like, dude, can you put both of those on the same transcript? Like, we were all in the Southwest Conference at that time. This was 1988. We're getting ready to be our sophomore. I'm like, you can't. This rivalry he literally left A&M, paid his own way to go all the way through UT, was how much he didn't want to be at A&M. But all of a sudden he had this what Paul refers to sort of as dual citizenship, dual alignment. I've been an Aggie and now he's been a Longhorn, and both of those are a part of who he was. I thought of another one that our family has experienced. Research today says about 1 out of every 2 families ends in divorce. And then in the remarriage of that, it's an even higher percentage of that in places. And so how many kids today are growing up with 2 moms and 2 dads and 2 places of authority in their life? And so all of a sudden they have sort of this dual citizenship with voices at both places that have power and authority, and there's tension and there's struggle there. And Paul starts to dial into this idea here of what does it look like to have citizenship in 2 places? Right? In this country, did you know you can't apply for dual citizenship, but if your parents are from another country and you're born here, then that child is automatically granted as an American citizen, and they're going to have citizenship where their mom and dad are citizens. So that child, if they're born here to parents who are citizens somewhere else, then they are going to be what's called a dual citizen. And Paul says, listen, if you're born in America, you are in America. But the moment that you exchange your life with the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, now you become a citizen of heaven as well. So you bear dual citizenship from that point forward. Now here's my struggle. My struggle, and maybe it's for some of you, and I don't know which end of the scale it tips for you, but my struggle in this deal is so many times I tend to lean into or prioritize or spend all or most of my time dealing with one citizenship or the other. Even my heaven citizenship. I think what we're going to see is Paul says, hey, they're both, Ken, extremely important. You're a citizen of both. You have responsibilities in both. And so we're going to dial in here. Look at what he says, and I'm going to give you 3 things. And again, this is not me. I'm just reading the text. He says, first and foremost, right here in chapter 13, verse 1, submit to government. Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there's no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Verse 2, consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted. And those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers, hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear and the one in authority? Then do what is right, and you will be commended. For one in authority is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath, to bring punishment to the wrongdoer. Therefore, it is necessary to submit to authorities, not only because of the possible punishment, but as a matter of conscience. Verse 6. This is also why you pay taxes. For the authorities are God's servants, who give their full time to governing. Give to everyone you owe them, what you owe them. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If revenue, then revenue. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. Basically, he's saying, listen, God's will, God is glorified when you and I submit to the governing authorities in our life. And you say, well, who is he talking to? I love it. He just comes right out of the chute. He says, who? Second word in verse 1. Just not just if they happen to hold the same party as I hold. Not if they hold the same beliefs as I hold. He says, rich, poor, young, old, all races, all genders, Christians, non-Christians. He just covers the whole gamut. He says, hey, let everybody submit. And you know, the definition of submit, ready, is to place oneself under. So Paul says, place yourself under the authority of the governing of what's there. Now I read that and go, okay, well, Paul must be sort of trying to cover some blanket statement. Surely, really, is this the blanket statement, or is this the exception to the rule? Because there's a lot of tension that comes when we go, hey, so I'm just supposed to surrender and submit myself and place myself under the government. I think God gives us the exception. Paul's given us the blanket rule. Here's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to submit to the government. Now, the exception God says is, hey, if the government asks you to do something that's illegal or immoral, that goes against my calling, sure. But what he says in verse 2. So absolutely, you can rebel against the government. Just prepare for the consequences. If it's immoral or it's ungodly and it goes against my word, then you are citizens in both places, in the government, in heaven's government. My government is higher, so absolutely you can choose not to do that, but understand that earthly government is going to have consequences. And I go, well, hey, Paul, you need to write this thing so that if I choose this one over here, I don't have to deal with that one. But that's not how he says it. He says submit to the authority. The only exception is if they call you to do what God's called us not to do, then, hey, by all means, honor God, but understand now you are willingly receiving the consequences that come with that choice. And so he begins to tell us, I think, well, why? Because that's a great question. I remember as a kid, my dad finally got to the place where he'd be like, son, if you ask me why one more time, it's just not going to work out good for me. But I get some of this and I go, okay, well, why, Paul? Why? And he begins to tell us in verse 1, he says, because there's no other authority except that which God has established. In other words, everything, he says, has been established by God. The premise is that God is sovereign of this entire passage of Scripture, and God downloads authority to whomever and wherever God chooses. And therefore, every single position of authority has been given authority, not because they've earned it or the vote gave it to them, but because God deposited it there. Now, does that mean they're all serving him in that role? I would argue no. Are they all working every day from the position that they're servants of God and have been given authority from him? I don't think so. But Paul's still saying that's where the authorities come from. They don't have any of it on their own. It is only given to them by God. And so he says surrender to it. And I go, okay, well, what about Hitler? What about Saddam Hussein? What about all kinds of people like that we know have had brutal reigns in leadership? And then I'll help you out. I'll even pick up the Bible and say, hey, open it up to Luke chapter 4. And Luke says this, isn't it? He says, Satan is actively involved in the political process. Daniel says this. He says, hey, there's wicked spirits that are assigned to various leaders. And yet God still says that he rules in the affairs of men. He's the only one that's sovereign. He's the only one that's granted authority. And what he's saying to you and I is you need to surrender to the authority that I've put in place. And when Paul writes this, maybe you think, hey, you're not dealing with what you know who was on the throne when Paul wrote? Nero. You know what he was doing to Christians at this time? Going and getting them, having them dipped in tar, and lighting them on fire to provide light for the parties that he had at the castle. He was wrapping them in animal skins and throwing them out to the dogs. We forget quickly how pagan the culture was that Paul was living in. And so we think things are bad in our country. It's never been as bad as our country as it was the very moment that he's writing this. And yet he still says, you got to submit to the authority. Why? And he starts in verse 2 to sort of give us this idea that, and I don't think of this very well, but he says, surrendering to the government in a way is an expression of our surrender to him. Because he's the one that has put them in their place of authority to start. And so he's just saying, when you submit to the government, whether I think the law is fair or not, whether I like what they do in their private life or not, whether I like how they're using the resources and things that we've put into place in our country, it doesn't matter. It's just your surrender to them is an expression of your surrender to me because I granted them your authority. And then in verse 3, I feel like I'm back to raising our toddlers. Maybe that's how Paul needs to speak to somebody like a Baylor kid like me. He says, real simple here in verse 3, hey dude, just make a choice. But with our girls, we used to use this phrase all the time. Make what? Good choices. Make good choices. Make good choices. There's consequences if you don't. That's what he says in verse 3. For rulers have no terror of those who do right,
but those who do wrong. So do what you want to be free from fear of the one in authority, then do what is right, and you will be commended. Right? How much anxiety do you have? I can't speak for you, I only speak for me. When I come up over top of the hill, or I come around the blind corner, and there sits this beautiful looking vehicle with a light bar usually on top of it. You know, and all of a sudden, the blood pressure goes through the roof. Starts slamming on the brakes. And he's just going, hey kid, just make choices, bro. Make good ones, drop the speed limit. There's no anxiety there. Friday night, we're on our way back. Right? It was the most beautiful thing. I don't know. We're old. It was a 30-year reunion, so we were home and in bed by 10. But still, we're on our way back. And I mean, it was okay. We went, we saw some people. We're in no hurry for whatever reason. I'm just in the right lane. Just kind of cruising, in no hurry to get anywhere. I mean, it was terrible. We got all dressed up. Like we took a shower and got dressed and left the house to go somewhere after 8 o'clock at night. That doesn't happen. We're all prettied up and still home and in bed by 10. So I'm like making the most of this drive home. Hey, you want to go somewhere else? No, I'm going to bed. Okay. You know, I mean, we're just driving. Somebody's in the right lane and here comes a police officer right by. I don't know, ever in my life had one pass me. And it's like I had no anxiety at all because I was making good choices. It just says, hey, it's up to you. Make good ones, you don't have any. Violate the law, and you just got to surrender yourself to the consequences. I've made some wonderful donations to some small metropolises in our state of Texas before. You have to surrender to the consequences should you choose not to. And then he says, here in verse 4, it's almost as if the authorities are sort of God's staff. For one, his authority is God's servant for your good, but if you do wrong, be afraid. For rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They're God's servants and agents of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. 2 times here, he calls these rulers God's servant. Did you know there's another translation that calls them minister here? How many of us think of the governing officials as God's ministerial staff? I look at our government sometimes and think, man, he's selected a ragtag bunch. I'm not sure that's the crew that I would have picked. But he chose. He's given them authority. And he says, so let me give you an example. Because Paul's like that. Paul wrestles with the tension. And he doesn't give you all the examples. He just picks one to sort of set the tone. And so he says in verse 6, how about trying this? Pay taxes. To which all God's people said, talk about some tension, right? You know, he says, let me give you an example. Pay taxes. Why? Because those people are my servants. That's my ministerial staff. Support my ministry. You live in a country that has taxes. Pay your taxes willingly and gladly. You have dual citizenship. And so our paying taxes is in essence part of our serving him. And so I think we ask the question, how are we doing in that area? How are we doing in what we report to the government? How do we do when we get a bonus that nobody knows about? Are we upfront and forthcoming? I read a great quote here about this week. It says, the more upfront and willing we are in this area of our life, the more submissive we're likely to be in other areas of our life as well. He says, let me just give you one example. I'm not going to give you all of them, but I'm going to wrestle with one. He says, pay taxes. And we push back a little bit and go, well, yeah, kid, that's all good and well, but what if they're using taxes for things I disagree with? I don't think we should spend that kind of money on foreign aid. I don't think we should be spending that kind of money on our military improvements right now. I don't think we should, in fact, I might even think it's against the law to take state and government funds to pay for abortions. And this list of questions, I don't know what yours are. This list of questions could go on and on and on. We can ask them all, and I'm telling you, don't shoot the messenger. All he says is, hey, I didn't give you the right to choose. It's mine. I'm the one that'll choose who's in authority, not you. You have a right to vote. Go vote. Absolutely. When it's finished, understand that I place the people in charge. Surrender to them. Here's an example. Willingly pay your taxes. Now, can you take the deductions that the government allows? Absolutely. Do you need to write twice as big a check as what the government's asking you? I don't think that's what it says. If you want to do that, write theirs and write the other one to church. You can write twice as big a check. I'm okay with that. I don't think he's telling us that. I think what he is saying is, hey, what you're asked to pay, do it willingly. That'll change April 15th, won't it? When we actually see it as, you know what, I'm participating in obedience to God. For the people that he's put into place. And then in verse 7, it says, give everyone what you owe them. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If you get revenue, give revenue. If you need respect, give respect. If it's honor, then honor. And all I can tell you is what I've discovered here. The more I've begun to pray for these people in leadership, the more my heart has begun to change to see it as God's in charge and I'm not, and God's sovereign, and this is a part of my obedience to Him. The less I pray for them, the more cantankerous I tend to be. The more I tend to want to not like things. And there are still lots of pieces that I don't like, but He says, show them honor, show them respect. Pray for them. I pray for you guys, but I got to tell you, there's a bunch of those folks that aren't always at the top of my list. It says, submit to the government. And then he goes on, and the second thing I think he does here in 8 through 10 is he talks about this idea of living to love, right? Check it out. Love no debt, let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. For whoever loves others has fulfilled the law. The commandment, you shall not commit adultery, not commit murder, not steal, shall not covet. Whatever other command there are, be summed up in one command. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no harm to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. Paul calls us to this lifestyle of love. We talked about genuine love last week, to have this radical love for the people he collides in our path. Financially, he uses this debt obligation here, and there could be this huge discussion over debt. Here's what I'll tell you, what's crystal clear about this idea of debt is we should never, let me say this, never overextend ourselves on a financial obligation that we can do, and we should always fulfill the financial obligation. So if you do borrow money, it should never overextend us, and we should be able to meet the financial responsibility of that which we borrowed. Many people do that for a home. But don't buy a home that we can't pay for every month. He says, do not overextend yourself. But then he goes past the financial piece, because I think the financial piece, like a home loan or a car loan or a student loan, one day will have a final payment. Anybody ever made one of those? Isn't it a sweet feeling to like throw that stamp on it and put it in there and go, hey, this one is done. But he says this idea of loving your neighbor is a debt that's never finished. There's never a final payment on this side of heaven. There's never a final payment. We'll never get to the place where we can say, all right, God, I've loved enough. We say, yeah, but you don't know my husband, you don't know my wife, you don't know what it's like at our house. I know, maybe. But all I know here is he says this obligation for you and I to live a life of love is one that will never have a final payment where we get to put it in the mail and say, I'm finished. I said, Ken, you don't know my boss. A coworker that's driving me nuts. Or my kids who are causing such chaos in our life that we're done. And I'm thinking, you know what? We can be done with some of the ways we do things and some of the things that happen out here, but what we do not, based off of God's word, is get a pass that says, I have to be done loving them. He said, I've called you to a debt of love that never has a final payment. Love your neighbor as yourself. He says it's the fulfillment of the law. And you know what? It's not the law that we do it for, but it's for those that all of a sudden begin to see what it looks like to love God. Think how things change in such a positive direction when we love God. With the people in our neighborhoods or at our kids' schools, in the workplace. When we do things that have no explanation other than we're just loving them. It's incredible what happens. And I struggle sometimes because I look at it and go, hey God, you want us to love the whole world? Which gets kind of overwhelming. And so what I've done is start to break it down and go, all right, which are the two people in my life that right now are the most difficult for me to love. Let me start trying to love them well, with a debt that's never paid. And you take one and you take two. And I think we start to eat the elephant one bite at a time. When we love that one well and we love those two well, then we can start to love another one. We can put another one on the list. And if you look around this room right now, I don't know, there's probably 75, 100 people in here, whatever's in here. If every one of us took two, think of the radical difference in our city that would experience love this week. With some people that are hard to love. Anybody know somebody that's hard to love? Or am I the only one? You can raise your hands. It's not, hey, he gave it to us because I think he knew there's people in this world that are hard to love. So you got to keep after it. It's going to only be from the overflow of my love in you that you can do it. But he says you got to love well. And then the last thing he says is in 11 through 14 is you got to refuse to sin. You got to begin to draw some lines and stop making provision for sin. And I'm not going to read all the way through it. You can read it. Josh has got it on the screen. But what Paul, I think, is trying to bring to the surface here is, hey, you guys, wake up. He uses this analogy of a sleep, that we don't know the time that Jesus is coming back. We don't know how much time. Phil Tolbert went to bed last Thursday night, and he looked at his wife as he laid in bed, and he said, sweetheart, I love you. She says, oh, I know. He says, no, sweetheart, I love you. She said, I know. He never woke up. She rolled over in the morning in front of him. She says, you don't know the time and place. You don't know the time and place that he's coming back, and we don't know the time and place that he's taking us. And so Paul's like, hey, psst, wake up. Some of us are sleepwalking. We're not in the bed. But we're up and we're navigating around the world and we're living in the world, and the world has got a hold of us, and the clothes that have put on, the garment that we're wearing in the moment is a garment that smells like some of the struggles of the world. And Paul lists a whole bunch of them here. And he says, psst, wake up. Snap out of it. There's an urgency. I love what George said when he said that the guys came to put a new house, or roof on their house. And they're trying to sell him an upgrade. So this one comes with a lifetime warranty. George says, I'm 70 years old. What makes you think I need a lifetime of anything? And he lives a life of urgency. Because he says to me often, Ken, I'm not trying to be old and cantankerous. I just don't have any time to waste. That's what Paul's pleading for. We don't know the time or place. He says you got to refuse sin. You got to stop creating space for it. He says instead, wake up and put on the armor of God. You know what I like to put on? I like to put on the comfy clothes. Anybody have your set? Somebody keeps throwing mine away. And I have this pair of shorts that I have had for like 20 years that are ripped, and they have tar stains on the back of them. And I have 2 drawers full of gym shorts. Okay, I know I have a problem, but I have 2 drawers full of them. But I would wear this one pair all the time. They're just that pair. They fit right. They're good. I can do anything in them. And she's like, throw those things away. And eventually they never made their way back to the drawer. I'm still not sure what happened. Well, I know what happened. But you know, he says, you have that favorite outfit. I don't know what yours is. He lists a whole bunch of stuff here of party sins and bedroom sins and social sins. And he goes on to tell, I don't know if that's your favorite outfit, if the one that you put on that causes you to live as if time isn't of the urgency. He says, it's urgent, Ken. As you shepherd this body, we need to understand there's an urgency. Today could be the day. He says, don't wake up and put on your favorite outfit that the world likes. Wake up and put my armor and go out and go into war, because today I might come back. Or I just might take you. He says, wake up. He uses this beautiful illustration of being asleep. And then I love Paul, because in most of the Pauline letters, he gives a hard challenge, and then he never leaves us kind of in the down. He always finishes at the end in 14. He says, rather clothe yourself with the Lord Jesus Christ, and do not think about how to gratify the desires of the flesh. He says, Ken, take your favorite outfit and put it away, and put on your outfit that says Team Jesus. And go live amongst them. Refuse to sin. I don't know what your sin is. But I know this. And I'm just going to say a little bit bold, but sin rarely just happens. It really rarely just sort of happens. Most of the time, it is a culmination of some premeditated things that have happened in our life all the way along the process. And the sin happens because we provided space for it to happen in our life. We didn't refuse to sin. We didn't choose to walk in Christ and put some guardrails in the way. Right? If we're going to ever take command of our flesh, he says, hey, just stop. Stop giving it any space. I mean, Paul's pretty extreme. He says if your eyes cause you to sin. So for you, if you're a guy in this room, which there are, because the numbers just tell me, and your struggle is pornography, Paul just says, hey, if your eyes cause you to sin, what? Plug it out. I'm like, hey, just turn your internet off. At least you can see. Just don't give it space. You can't live in 2017 without internet. Sure you can. Go preach a camp in Creek, Colorado for a week. You won't have it. It's a glorious thing, actually. Rita's like, hey, do we need to... She got her phone to work. I couldn't get mine to work. She's like, hey, do you want me to take yours and see if you can get it there? I'm like, no. Please don't. Just let it not work. Yeah. He says, hey, I don't know what your sin is. Just don't provide space for it. If you know you have a problem with something that's on the internet, get rid of the internet. If you know you have a problem with greed, then surrender control of your finances to someone else. He says, stop providing space. It's rarely an accident or just a one-time thing. It's a culmination of those in our life. He says, take it off and go put on Team Jesus and let's go. Let's go love well with a debt that's never paid on this side of heaven. Let's surrender to the government that he's got. The goods, the bads, all the stuff that comes with it. And I wonder what would happen not only in our own life, I wonder what would happen in the lives of the people in our office and in our neighborhoods. I know we would do something special and nice. What would it look like to the people around us? And this became the prescription for how we were supposed to live each day. I think it would have to be noticeable. Not only would it make a difference for us, it could avoid some sin and some pain and some huge struggle for us. It could transform the lives of people. It changes their life for all of eternity. And I live like we have a long time sometimes. The more I keep reading, and the more I keep looking at what's happening in our world, the more convinced I'm becoming I'm not sure we have really as long as time is of the essence. And I've said before, well, if God's ready, I'm ready. And from a perspective of me, I am. From a perspective of my bride, we're ready. From the perspective of our girls, they've all made decisions to exchange their life for Christ. But there's still a lot of people I know in this world that I care deeply about that have yet to make that decision. Should he come back, my heart will break for him to spend eternity with. Father, we thank you so much for your goodness, for your love for us, for the forgiveness of so many places that I fall so short. God, I thank you so much for what Paul has here. And for this desire to love well. Man, I do not do very well sometimes. God, pick me up and use me again. Allow me to take the old pair of shorts and throw them away and to put on a suit that says Team Jesus and to re-engage and to walk out to be more passionate and more energetic and more seeking your will and your desire than I have ever been before. And God, allow that to overflow into the lives the people in my circle and the people in each circle in this room. And I look and go, hey, if we just drew the circle of influence of every single person here, what kind of impact could we have on our city? And it would be remarkable. God, let us live a life that loves well. Let us live a life that doesn't create space for sin anymore. That takes seriously the call and the urgency. That's willing to put whatever guardrails in place and say, hey, you know what? It's been a problem, but I'm not giving it space anymore. God, the truth is we can't do it on our own and in our flesh. So come and dwell amongst us, live in us, walk with us, pick us back up when we fall. Give us some